I think Black Mage is going to be in major trouble, guys. Hey, what's going on, guys? SnivyPootis here. Welcome back to the video. And so I have been needing to make this video a while ago, but obviously I was doing Dawntrail stories, so it took me a bit. But yeah, we are talking about Black Mage again. We're back on this because now that I've finally gotten a chance to play Black Mage and actually try the changes and stuff and see how it's performing, it's not looking great so far. So, for those who are unaware, I made a video a while ago about the Black Mage changes for Dawntrail prior to Dawntrail actually releasing. Just talking about, what they removed and how it's going to play now and stuff like that. And, it's basically exactly the same as we expected. They didn't really change anything outside of the mana font change that we already knew. So, yeah. Black Mage is not looking great right now for a variety of reasons, and we're just going to get into why that is. So, first things first. As for how I actually feel about it, now that I've actually got a chance to get my feet wet with it, and I got it all the way to 100, I quested with Black Mage in my Dawntrail experience, so I basically only been playing Black Mage for the majority of this expansion so far. So yeah, I have a lot to say on it, but my initial thoughts were, wow, this job is really, it's not really too different. And then as the more I played it and the higher levels that I got, I was like, oh wow, this feels honestly not bad. Like, I basically already knew that it wasn't going to be too terrible in terms of like the differences, but like I don't really feel like I'm restricted as much. Granted, yeah, you don't have sharp cast, so you can't do this and that with movement, but at this point now you just kind of have guaranteed movement. So like, you know when you get your Thunderhead, and you'll know when you get your Paradox, and you know when you'll get your Fire Starter, and you know when to use it. So like, you're still flexible. It's not like the job is like linear and like super like strict with this rotation like people are afraid of being, at least in my opinion. I know non-standard is like way more flexible than Black Mage has ever been, but that's a whole different topic for the other day. But right now we're talking about Dawntrail Black Mage, and honestly I think that it is pretty good, and I don't really hate the changes at all. Like, yeah, it could say it's pretty boring, just like 6 Fire 4s and then Flare Star, but I think that it's probably the best option. Granted, losing non-standard sucks, but it wasn't really meant to be in the game anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. The Thunderhead thing with Thunder, like, honestly, I don't even really notice it. And even so, I still drop my Thunder sometimes. That's just because I'm an idiot. But honestly, I do feel like it's nice to have it because it kind of prevents you from overcapping. I will say there still are some times where it ends up dropping because like you don't need it when you swap an element. So you swap back to Ice, but you'll still have like 24, 29 seconds on your Thunder because you just refreshed it in Fire. So it feels like that you're kind of throwing away procs without meaning to. I don't know if you're supposed to do that or if that's just a me problem, but I could be wrong because I've been looking in the Black Mage balance Discord like almost every day just to see if they updated it yet, and it's as of right now they have not updated it. I could be dead wrong by the time this video is live, but we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, yeah, that's just how I feel about the Black Mage changes. It's basically the same way I felt about it in the original video that I made. I don't mind it. It feels still great to play. I still like playing Black Mage. I still feel impactful. Flare Star, I will admit, kind of feels like underwhelming. As if it looks underwhelming. Like, it doesn't feel like that impact. Like, I still feel like that Fire 4 is unironically that Black Mage's like most impactful spell that you use, and which is good because it's the spell that you use the most. My issue with Black Mage is AoE. So, for those unaware who didn't play Black Mage and Endwalker, Black Mage and Endwalker, you would go into Fire, and then you do 2 high fires, basically, and then you do Flare, and then another Flare, because, you have an enhanced Flare, or you used to have enhanced Flare. Then you do Mana Font, and then enhanced Flare, again, and then you switch back and then rinse and repeat until the mob's dead. So you can't do that anymore because high fire doesn't give you enhanced flare anymore. That's not a thing anymore. So really all you need to do is use high fire to switch back into fire after going to ice, and just doing 2 flares back to back. So, but the problem with that is, if you don't have triple cast or split cast, then you just have to sit there and cast flare and just watch the animation go and like the long cast, and then you sit there. I know maybe there could be a more efficient way to do AoE Black Mage. I honestly don't know, because that's just what I found to be the best for bursting packs down. Is just double flare, mana font, and then double flare again, and then switch back after, obviously with Flare Star as well. So I feel like with Flare Star, it kind of balances out with the long cast times, but it feels like Black Mage AoE feels so like bad to play with with the long flare cast time, because flare is such a long cast that, I don't know, it just feels like it's so slow in AoE compared to how it used to be. But then again, Black Mage wasn't too fast in AoE before then either. It just feels like there's literally no reason to use High Fire outside of swapping. So it's kind of the same thing with I guess you could say with Freeze, where you don't really need to use it unless you're getting your mana back in an AoE, which is fine. I don't think we should be High Fire spamming or Flare spamming, but at the same time, I feel like that High Fire could be a little better. I don't know. I wish you could, like, I know Flare is important, but I wish that High Fire kind of had the same effect that Fire 4 did, but like AoE version. I feel like that would have been way cooler, in my opinion, but that's just me. But yeah, that's really my only big complaint with Black Mage, that AoE Black Mage feels like shit if you don't have triple cast. But other than that, everything else is great. I do enjoy casting Flare Star. I just wish it looked better visually, but that can't be helped. Paradox into cast fired is really nice, because especially with the guaranteed fire starter, because you'll have a fire starter, so then you can just do like 4 Fire 4s instead of 3, or maybe even 5 if you're really feeling it and you have high spell speed, and then you can just bam fire Paradox at like 2 seconds, and then you have a fire starter. It does feel really nice to have that leeway. Like Fire 4, well, not Fire Phase feels way more what's the word, lenient than it used to be, but it does definitely lose that momentum and flexibility that it used to have, I will say. And the really worst thing is that if you do not get your Fire 4s somehow, then you just lose out on damage from Flare Star. So yeah, like you basically have to get all of your Fire 4s in. Granted, it's very hard not to now with the changes, but if by some off chance you don't manage to get your Fire 4s in time, like the boss goes targetable or something, then you just lose out on Flare Star damage, and you can't really accelerate the Flare Star damage either. You can't do an early cast. You have to have all of your casts, so it kind of makes it go to waste if the boss goes targetable. Because like with Despair, what's nice about Despair is that you can cast it any time in your fire phase. So if the boss is about to go targetable and you still have enough for like another Fire 4 or maybe 2, you can just do Despair anyway, and it's still a gain over just doing a Fire 4. But now, if you don't get all your Fire 4s out and you don't get the Flare Star out, then you just not only do you lose it on Despair damage probably, and also Flare Star damage. So not great. But so that's basically what my thoughts are on the Black Mage changes. But my biggest concern is where damage comes in. So for those who are living under a rock and don't really care about parses and stuff, let me inform you by showing you these graphs. So right now I'm looking at the extremes for Trial 1, but obviously if you probably know what it is by now if you're watching this video this long, because spoilers obviously, but I'll say it anyway. Trial 1 extreme, so big bird snake thing, and this is the current graphs for RDPS and ADPS. And RDPS will be on the left and ADPS will be on the right. So yeah, in RDPS, as far as I can see, Black Mage is sitting way below now. It's doing less than every melee right now, doing less than Ninja, Dragoon, Monk, Samurai, Viper, Reaper. Like, it gets outdamaged by every melee right now, which I don't... Okay, so before I go into this little, I guess, rant, keep in mind, I do not care if Black Mage is the top damage class, okay? I don't think any one job should be like the essential damage job, but my thing is that if the job's only job is, doing being a damage, like selfish job, it should be doing the most, right? So it doesn't really stand to reason why it's doing less than every other like buffing melee, including the buffing caster. I know that that the new jobs are always overtuned and broken at launch. That's how they always been. Besides, I guess Reaper, because Reaper was kind of iffy and it got buffs and then it got better. But when it comes to parsing, when it comes to this type of stuff, like it just kind of doesn't make any sense. Because like Black Mage again, it's only supposed to be doing damage, and that's like what it brings to the table over other casters. But when you have Pictomancer doing like double its damage, well, not double its damage, just like 2k more, but still, if you have one job that only does damage and doesn't bring anything to your team utility wise, completely selfish, over a job that has utility and has a raid buff and does more damage than the other job, then you like, why would you bring Black Mage? You know, like there's no reason to be playing Black Mage if you're doing high end content, because you're just gonna be losing out on damage or raid buff and more utility. So I do think they'll probably buff Black Mage to, you know, alleviate this, but I don't know for sure. I'm just hoping they will, because again, it doesn't really make sense in the grand scheme of things. I think most people can agree, even people who aren't super high on rating and stuff, that Black Mage should probably be doing more than Picto, since it doesn't have a raid buff. No, don't get me wrong. I don't think Picto should get nerfed. I do not think Picto should get nerfed. I feel like Picto is fine where it is. I do feel like it's overtuned, but I don't think it deserves a nerf. Not at all. Or Viper. But I do think that Black Mage should get a little bit of love. And Samurai as well, because both of them are the selfish job. And especially Machinist. Machinist is almost the worst DPS right now, which is concerning in that regard as well, but that's not my jurisdiction. But I do feel like that Black Mage should at least be doing more than Monk, Dragoon, and Ninja, if not more than Viper. But I don't think that it should be doing that less. Okay, like, and then even in ADPS, it's a little better. It's in like fifth place, so you know it's not crazy bad. And Samurai is still on top on ADPS, and I know that our DPS doesn't really matter for Black Mage and Samurai, but like, you know, just bear with me here. I don't think that it's still doing less than Pictomancer even at an AVPS. It's only by a little bit, but still, I don't think that Pictomancer should be dominating so hard on Black Mage like that. I feel like it should either be even, or Black Mage should be a little better. You know, like, because at that point you're playing a harder job that has less utility than one job, and is arguably not as like Pictomancer is probably easier to play than Black Mage. I don't know for sure. I'm not a high-end Pictomancer player, but that's just how I think of it at this stance. So, long story short, I don't feel like that Black Mage is necessarily a dead job by any means. No, but I mean, I wouldn't blame people for wanting to go to Pictomancer because, you know, more damage, rate buffs, utility, all that good stuff. I feel like if Pictomancer had a raise, then it'd probably just be like fucking #1 caster at this point. But I mean, it already is, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't think Black Mage is a dead job. Not at all. I think Black Mage is great still. I just feel like that it probably could use a little bit of love just to usher it into the better damage categories, because right now it is struggling on the damage part. Anyway, that's all I had to talk about for this video today. I know it's a bit longer than I usually do, but I really wanted to just get all my thoughts out and just because Black Mage is one of my favorite jobs in the entire game, and it's probably the one that I'm the most equipped to talk about without getting totally flamed. I know I'll still get flamed a little bit, but I still, you know, I feel like I have more to say on it personally because I've played it so much. Anyway, let you guys know what you guys think of the Black Mage changes. Do you still hate it? Do you still love it? Do you not care? Do you feel like it plays the same? Do you feel like Black Mage should get some buffs? Do you think Picto could be nerfed? Let me know in the comments below, because I love hearing from you guys. I really do, and it really opens up discussion. Keep it civil is all I gotta say, but you know, anyway, that's gonna do it for me for today. Hope you guys have a great one, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out.